Okay, so page 137 is where we talk about this. Essentially, you've got mutually exclusive and non-mutually exclusive. Essentially what it is mutually exclusive. They have no overlap. Okay, so you're going to roll a dice. Okay, so when you roll a dice, your outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? You can't roll a 7. You can't roll an 11. Okay, you can roll a 1 to 6. Can't roll a 0. So event A is an even number being thrown. So event A would be rolling a 2, rolling a 4, or rolling a 6. Event B is an odd number is thrown. So that would be rolling a 1, a 3, or a 5. List the outcomes for event A, list the outcomes for event B. We've done that. Okay, set theory. So this symbol means union. Union means or. This symbol means intersect. Intersect means and. Okay? So, and means overlap. Or means everything. So all the way back to set theory. So list the outcomes. So the outcomes for event A are 2, 4, 6. The outcomes for event B are 1, 3, and 5. What is the events of the union? Well, that's just list everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. List the events in the overlap. Is there any overlap? No. So do you remember how we show no? Empty set. Okay. Okay. What does a little n in front of a bracket mean? Number. So what are the number of elements in circle A? 3. What are the number of elements in circle B? 3. What are the number of elements in A or B? 6. And the number of elements in A and B? 0. So probability. So it's favorable over total. So circle A had 3 elements in it over a total of 6. Circle B had 3 elements in it over a total of 6. A or B had 6 elements in it out of a total of 6. Think about it. That means or. A is rolling an even number. B is rolling an odd number. So I say, okay, Morgan, you roll the dice. What's the probability of getting an odd number or an even number? You're going to be like, 100%. 6 out of 6. And if I said, Reese, what's the probability of getting an even number and an odd number? She's going to be like, you can't get an even and an odd. It's impossible. So 0 out of 6, or 0%. So the words or and the words and should, the way we say them and what they mean should mean the same thing. Okay, so here's the thing. This was set theory. This is probability. It's the exact same knowledge. All we have to do is remember our one little formula. So we're just going to take what we learned in set theory and just go this divided by this. Or in other words, the bottom here, think of it as your universal set. because the universal is everything that should happen, and the everything that should happen is your total. So I'm just changing the language slightly, but it's just set theory is all it is. So what are mutually exclusive events? These are events that cannot happen at the same time. Like when you pull up to a traffic light, it's not red and green at the same time. It's red or green. It can't be red and green. You can't be graduating and not graduating. You can't be pregnant and not pregnant. Okay? They're mutually exclusive. There's no overlap. So in terms of the Venn diagram, no overlap. Okay? So it says when you toss a coin, you can't get a head and a tail at the same time. If I give you a deck of cards, you can't pull a king and an ace at the same time. Okay? So when two events A and B are mutually exclusive, it is impossible for them to happen together. So the probability of A and B is 0. So again, no overlap. Okay, we're not going to worry about verifying. That's pointless. Okay, so what about events that do have overlap? So these are called non-mutually exclusive because they have overlap. And the overlap, remember from set theory, the overlap is the and. And if you also remember from Venn diagrams, you start here and then you work your way out. So consider the experiment of rolling a die and noting the result. So the event A is an even number is thrown. So event A is an even number. So that would be rolling a 2, a 4, or a 6. Don't write this down, by the way, because I'm going to erase it here in a sec. Sorry. Event B is a multiple of 3. What are the multiples of 3 when you roll a dice? A 3 and a 6. What? 1's not multiple of 3. Yeah. 1's a factor of 3, but not a multiple of 3. Notice they both have a 6. So the way we actually write this is you put the 6 here in the overlap. So that A is 2, 4, 6, and B is 3, 6. Okay? So exactly like what we did in set theory. Like I'm not changing the rules. All I'm changing is the probability question. Okay? So this is A or B. This is A and B. And remember is overlap. So or is everything. So everything is 2, 3, 4, or 6. Overlap is just the 6. So total number of outcomes. So the experiment of rolling a die. So remember you rolled a dice. So you could land on a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. So 1 and 5, they're not even and they're not multiples of 3, but they're still in the universal set. Okay. So when you're doing the OR, make sure you list everything in the universal set. It's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even though it's not in the circles. The AND is just the overlap, which is the 6. So how many elements do we have in A? 3. How many elements do we have in B? 2. How many elements do we have in A or B? 6. A and B? 1. So this right here, this is your universal. Because it's A or B. It's everything that could happen. Okay. So then the probability is going to be 3 out of 6, 2 out of 6, 6 out of 6, 1 out of 6. So non-mutually exclusive events do have a common outcome. So you've got A and B. They've got this overlap, which is the AND. So how you do these questions is completely identical to how we did everything else. All we've got is just ask ourselves, do we have overlap, yes or no? Okay. So on your formula sheet, so again, we're not going to verify. So this is what I handed out to you. So mutually exclusive versus not mutually exclusive. So mutually exclusive are events that have no overlap. Non-mutually exclusive do have overlap. So this is the AND. So A and B for this one is 0 because it can't happen at the same time. Okay. So on your formula sheet, these are the formulas that you get. So they're called the OR formulas. They're essentially saying the exact same thing. The reason why this one doesn't have this on it, if they are mutually exclusive, what is the value of the AND? 0. So they just left it off. So in order to find the probability, you take the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of both. Now, I'm going to do a big old OR. So I'm going to show you how to do these using the Venn diagrams instead of using the formulas. But it's entirely up to you how you think about this. I'm good either way, okay? But you are guaranteed a question on the diploma where they will give you 2 events and they will ask you, are these events mutually exclusive or not mutually exclusive? Okay, and so you just have to ask yourself, do they have overlap? If they have overlap, they're not mutually exclusive. If they don't have overlap, they are mutually exclusive. And think about it, mutually exclusive. They exclude each other. So mutually together they have excluded each other. So they're no overlap. Whereas not mutually exclusive means they're not mutually excluding each other, means they do have overlap. It's the language of this unit that makes you go a little squirrely. Honestly, for me, I just think of it as no overlap and overlap. Okay? Now you will also notice on your formula sheet, they do not provide you with these words. They give you the formula, but they don't put the words beside it. So, for your diploma, you are going to write in those words. So when you get your diploma and you sit down, you're going to tear out the formula sheet that's at the back of the test. And the first thing you do is you're going to go to this section right here. It's right out of the middle. And you're going to write, beside the OR formulas, you're going to write ME for mutually exclusive and not ME to by the other. And you're just going to quickly write that in there, and then you're going to tuck it away, and you're not going to worry about it. Okay? And we'll talk about that towards the end of the test on how you're going to jimmy the formula sheet so that becomes a cheat sheet for you when you get to those questions on the exam.